This episode is presented to you by NFL Sunday Ticket, now on YouTube and YouTube TV. With NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV, you can watch your favorite teams' out-of-market Sunday games, plus watch up to 4 games at once with Multiview. Don't miss the race to the playoffs. NFL Sunday Ticket is now just $39 when bundled with YouTube TV, where you get even more football. Visit youtube.com/Spotify offer to sign up now. Lowest price on YouTube TV with base plan. Rest of 2023 season. Terms and embargoes apply. No cancellations.
This episode is brought to you by Google Pixel, the official fan phone of the NBA and WNBA. The new Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro are built different. How? Take the Audio Magic Eraser tool that helps block out distracting crowd noise so your play-by-play commentary sounds crystal clear. The only phone engineered by Google brings out the audio you care about so your videos sound as crisp as they look. Learn more at googlestore.com/Pixel NBA. Audio Magic Eraser requires Google Photos app. May not work on all audio elements.
This episode is brought to you by Columbia Sportswear. It's snowing again, and that wind chill is killer. But you're not worried about that because you shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection. It's warmth perfected with tiny gold dots that reflect your body heat inside and protect you from the cold outside. No snow or chilly temps can stop you now. Go out anyway. Shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection now at Columbia.com/infinity.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day. And that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Of those three, who's the heir apparent to Peter Vermes? Those three, and we get 3 more years of Vermes.
Benny.
Not Ilya?
No. Ilya's too nice.
Yep, he'd be a good assistant coach.
I can't see Ilya going, damn it, you need to move the ball faster. No, move, I can't see him doing that.
Was that your Spanish accent?
Oh, I was thinking it was German. It's like, for me, it's German? What?
Give me beer, whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
So, guys, I was at a family Christmas, an early family Christmas gathering for the MLS Cup. And I, of course, had a reluctant soccer uncle, some casual sports fans that also didn't understand the sport, and the game is drawing on 1-0, and it's rather boring, and people are faking injuries, and I'm sitting there just battling all the stereotypical nonsense you hear, and I'm just sitting there like, this game cannot end 1-0 with all these people surrounding me talking shit like this. And so yes, whenever Portland scored that goal, it was glorious. The room turned, everyone was cheering. I didn't know, I was actually telling everyone to root for New York City FC, but everyone was just excited that a goal was scored. So people were cheering, and people were into it, the whole extra time and penalty kicks. So that was good. I actually had a good experience. It was the first MLS I had watched since Sporting KC lost. I took like this show, I took a hiatus from MLS in my annoyance. But yeah, I had a good MLS Cup viewing experience. Thad, what were you doing for it this weekend?
Just casually watching it sitting on the couch with the family watching it.
You did watch? You watched with the family? Your daughter's I know she is into soccer and sporting, but the high school girl will sit on a couch with her dad and watch MLS Cup still?
Yeah.
Oh,
she wouldn't watch a random game, but I mean, big games.
You got a good kid there.
I know. I got lucky.
So let's bring in Chad. Chad Smith is here, has returned to the show. Chad, where were you at? What were you doing for MLS Cup?
I was at a 5-year-old's birthday party, and I convinced them to put on the game, and then they remembered that MU was playing KU in basketball, and they flipped over to that, so I had to watch it late.
Yeah, there was actually soccer won that fight. MLS or the Mizzou fans, there's a lot of MU fans that were in this house, and none of them were putting up a fight to watch that game, obviously.
I wonder why.
So yes, the garage had the MU-KU rivalry game, and then the living room was rocking the MLS Cup. David, you're quiet. Producer man in the background.
Oh, I am just basking in the KU victory over Mizzou, knowing that I'm burning every bridge with Chad right now.
I'm glad I got to add that in here at the beginning. I got to low key take a shot.
And my heart grew 3 sizes, just like the Grinch.
I was watching the same. I feel the same, honestly, but it just got to the point where it was bordering on not fun anymore. Like where you're starting to feel bad for beating up on this other team.
False.
Well, they're not a good basketball team. Let's see if they play in football. That'll be fun.
Okay, fair enough. Wow. Yes. Anyway, back to soccer. Robert, what were you doing?
Yes, sir.
What was your weekend?
I've been off work. I was off work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I did more in those 5 days than I do when I'm at work. I had to go to work today so I could relax.
Right. Well, what do you mean you did more? You were doing housework, you were running chores. What were you doing?
Wednesday night pool with my buddy. Thursday night, a Christmas Carol with the KC rep. Friday, drove down to Branson for Silver Dollar City. Got home about 2:30 in the morning. Saturday, had a gathering with my buddies Saturday, late afternoon. I got to watch half of MLS Cup, recorded the rest, and then went to Taylor Tomlinson at the Uptown Saturday night. So by Sunday, I was dead tired.
Well, damn, Robert is a man about town.
Man about the country.
Forgot to say I got caught in a tornado, sirens at Silver Dollar City. So that was fun.
I even checked in on you, man.
Yes, you did. That warmed my heart, Dad. Thank you.
Oh, shades of blue love. So shall we discuss, do we need to discuss the actual soccering part of the final? How do we wrap up the MLS season?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If I heard correctly, NYC coach did a strip running around naked or something afterwards.
He stripped down to his
Can we get Vermes to promise to do that?
That's the difference in our coaches there. Vermes is too careful and would never promise such a thing. It was a good video though. Actually, I think all the guy said was that he would take his shirt off or something if they won. Or he'd take his shirt off and celebrate with the fans or something. And he ended up stripping all the way down to his skivvies and fist pumped. It was good. It was a good feel good video.
I never saw the video, so I just heard about it.
Good word choice, Cody.
Yeah, I didn't see it as well, but I've added that to my questions for next time there's a press conference. So I'll keep that in mind, Cody. We'll see if I can work that one in.
You got to ask. You can't score if you don't shoot.
Were any of you thinking, hey, I should be at Children's University Park right now during this game? Were any of you thinking that?
I made sure my family knew that I shouldn't even be at this gathering. This game should be at Children's Mercy, and I should be there. And,
Yep, I said the same thing to my cousin, who's the parent of that 5-year-old. He actually has season tickets. We go all the time together. So, yeah, kind of a bummer for him too. I think he'd have rather been at the game than his kid's birthday party.
I'm trying to emotionally heal, but here's what bothered me about MLS Cup is that Nate Silver, the runner, the founder, the purveyor of 538, is a witch.
He is, man.
He's a witch because all season long, their metrics had NYCFC at or near the top to win MLS Cup. And all season long, I thought, wow, this team sucks. They are so average. And all of the underlying numbers, all the metrics said how great they were. And none of that means squat when you're not winning points. And then somehow, some way, these fools with their New York Yankee money, with their Manchester City oil tycoon money, somehow win the cup. And Nate Silver's a witch. That's all I've got.
I've been a big fan of Nate Silver for a long time now. And yes, he is a witch. 538 is very impressive. And I don't imagine many people are asking him to talk about soccer. And I wonder if he has an itch to talk about it. And we should see if we could get him on the show. That'd be a huge win for me. I've been a fan of his for a long time.
Or, hey, it could have something to do with Castellanos going on a tear. I don't know.
That helped.
Yeah.
That helped in a big way.
Yeah, but can they now get a stadium, please?
Yeah, no shit. No.
Did you see they guaranteed one by 2026?
Well, they guaranteed one.
Open and playing it.
That's how they got the franchise, was guaranteeing that they would be out of it in 3 years. So
I believe they got a franchise by being in New York and oil billionaires backing them.
Exactly.
and like $100 million clause to get the right to do it. But no, yeah, that was part of the agreement, was they wouldn't be in Yankee Stadium for any longer than 3 years. So I will believe it when I see it.
Was part of Inter Miami's deal, don't fuck it up the first couple of years? Was that part of their deal?
Apparently not.
Oh,
And I heard something that was the first championship in New York since 2012. So
In
no
any
New
sport?
York team. Yeah. It was like,
that's
tasty.
probably accurate.
so that's the first championship for a long time for the Yankees.
Even hockey's too. Even in hockey too. Really?
Yeah. Somebody was running down the list, like hockey, football, WNBA, NBA.
Red
all of it.
Bulls, didn't the Red Bulls win
the
supporter
supporter
shield
shield.
in there?
Yeah, but no
Yeah,
one
but-
counts it.
They don't count that.
I
Hey,
count.
they
I
lost
count.
a U.S. Open Cup final to somebody. Who was that?
was
The New York Cosmos won the Soccer Bowl in 2013, 15, and 16. Are we not counting NASL titles around here?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what the soccer bowl is. Is that just the final of whatever?
That is-
Oh my God.
What
Yes,
is
that is correct.
that?
Yeah,
That
that's
is
their
the
final.
final of the NASL. Yes.
Oh, the soccer bowl.
It's been called that since Lamar Hunt named
Yes,
it that, right?
that is. I was just about to say that sounds like an original MLS idea, like the no throw-ins and we're doing all kick-ins. Like that sounds like one of those. And the long PK run-ups. Yeah, that sounds like original MLS to me. So I hope they keep it. It should stick around forever. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this MLS season here, and we can talk about Jaylin Lindsey and the Sporting KC roster moves already. Pat, are you ready to say goodbye to this season? Like, look alive here, man. We're saying goodbye to this season. It was a good.
Are you tingly yet, Cody?
We made it the whole season. Fad never got tingly. I think if we made it one more week, one more win, there would have been some tingling.
Yeah, it would have been a little tingle.
A little one. Okay. You don't have any something prophetic to say about this season? Give me one succinct sentence on Sporting KC's entire season.
It was enjoyable.
It's very agreeable.
Sure.
Oh, actually, I say that, but I'm sure there's people screaming right now listening to it.
Oh yeah, but rightly so in some cases, but not all of it was enjoyable. The season was enjoyable.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Some things are just better together, like party playlists and Friday nights, campfires and ghost stories, peanut butter and chocolate. And Reese's Cups are the perfect combination of creamy peanut butter and delicious milk chocolate. So, when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Buy Reese's today wherever candy is sold.
All right, Cody. Dave is over there just chomping at the bit to go off on the Jaylin Lindsey thing. I can tell.
I feel like this entire offseason has been Peter Vermes like personally attacking me. Like they get rid of my guy Ilie, they get rid of Jaylin. I feel like I should be more attached to Roberto Puncec just out of principle now. Yeah.
So,
Well, he
David,
is looking for a home, man. So maybe.
Hey,
you can help
Ali
him out.
Trost lost a neighbor. Come on.
Yeah.
David we're referring, of course, to the recent decision to trade Jaylin Lindsey to the newly crowned MLS team, the newly dubbed MLS team, Charlotte FC. It is where Jaylin is from. Sporting KC get in return X amount of
$100,000 in GAM guaranteed, $225,000 in GAM in easily attainable incentives, and then another 15% potentially in a sell-on clause if they were to move him. I'm sure there's like restrictions on how long they have to do that and whatnot. He's only signed through the end of the year, so I don't know if he's getting a new deal or not too as a part of this trade, but presumably if they're giving up that much money, they don't want to lose him after a year.
Yeah, over 300,000 there for, as Chad said, for just 1 year left on his contract. So, decent move there. It's Trader Pete doing his job again, and it sounds like he would have been he kind of wanted to return home, and this sounds like a pretty exciting opportunity for Jaylin Lindsey. So I'm interested. I guess let's start with David to round out your whole argument here. Let us know how you feel, because I am rather indifferent on it. So we might have some contrasting reactions in here.
Well, so I'm disappointed for a couple different reasons. The first of which is just the simple roster construction right now, which is that we've only got a handful of players. Well, I shouldn't say handful. We have more than a handful of players, but we've only got 4 defenders signed to the first team roster right now, which is Fontes, Izzy, Pierre, and Cave Rad. So when we've unloaded both left backs, Zusi's out of contract, it seems bizarre or peculiar to unload a perfectly serviceable right back and who's a young player. On a less of a roster construction thing, I think Jaylin Lindsey's a good player. I think he has a lot of potential. Obviously, he's dealt with some injuries, but he was a youth international for the U.S. national team. And he's shown when he's had extended playing time that he's got some game. Will he ever be as great as Zusi was at his peak? Maybe, maybe not. But more than anything, we unloaded a homegrown player who doesn't really hit the salary cap at a position that we desperately need players for. And there's no real replacement in sight unless we want to re-sign the, statue of Graham Zusi. So I'm very sad. I feel like Vermes is personally attacking me with each move this offseason.
Well, yeah, it's sad. I've been a Jaylin fan for a long time now, but and one thing you mentioned there at the beginning, a key part of it is his potential, and I do think he has a lot of room to grow still. I think there's untapped potential in his game still, but I would argue that even just from a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, that maybe that potential is not as high as it once was. I think 2 years ago, he was the hope for the future to lock down that position and, become one of the better outside backs in MLS. And he has played and he hasn't done bad. Like you said, he's got some game there, but I think the vision that Peter Vermes had of that he's the man for the future, the choice, the guy for the future going forward, that I don't think that was all the way there anymore. And not that it was all the way gone. I do think part of this, because of all those reasons you mentioned, David, I think part of this is that Jaylin did want to go, and Vermes is always going to respect players' wishes and things like that. So I do think that's part of it. Yeah, like the lack of defenders on the line right now, and the homegrown aspect of it, not getting hit with having to pay him too much. So yeah, that's all valid, and I think it plays into that there must have been something there that Jaylin was saying, I want to go to Charlotte.
I think that's a distinct possibility. I think we'll probably not really ever know. Although Peter sometimes will talk about things like that. We might be able to get that sort of thing out of him. But if it's something else, like if he's unhappy with his performance or, something, he's not going to disclose that information. I'd like to be optimistic and think it's because he sees Caden Pierre as a star. He's 18, he'll be 19 in February. And he improved drastically in his 1 year at SKC too. And would you rather have a 19-year-old that's way faster than Jaylin Lindsey? We always complain that the fullbacks don't have enough pace. They can't recover. They can't get back when they're asked to go so far forward. And he seems like he can run for days. So that might be overly optimistic. I watch a lot of the second team. I know I'm in the minority in that regard, but I'm hopeful.
Actually, I would kind of agree with that part too. Not only is Pierre fast, he's a very good tackler when he's making that very fast run back. I've seen him make tons of coming from behind, sweeping in, clean, legal tackles, and just taking guys out and saving the play. So he's got that potential. He needs to get some more experience and, mature a bit, but he's got that speed. I really like him. So he is almost definitely a factor in the fact that of letting Jaylin go and getting value for him at this moment. Whether Jaylin wanted to go because he knows he may be, if Zusi's re-signed, he's probably still not starting in the right back spot, at least not consistently. So I'm pretty sure all that plays into it. And Peter will say some of that.
I think it does. I think every part of everything we've mentioned here had some role in it. Yeah. And Thad, you said it there of, I think Vermes definitely would have believed in Jaylin still to some extent. And, he was playing him when given an opportunity. So I think it's just, he looks around and he sees he sees another player coming up behind him that he is really excited about. Jaylin asks to go somewhere else. And then Thad, what you mentioned there is this is the time, the right time to sell. It's, the good value time to get rid of Jaylin Lindsey. And that is where Vermes is never going to pass something up. So I think it all just kind of, I think everything we've mentioned here played into it, kind of made the decision easier for Vermes at least.
Peter will sell somebody, even though you may not have the immediate backup if he needs to get value out of that person now. I mean, sold Busio because you had to, right? Sell Jaylin because he had to. That's probably all part of it.
Well, just think about the difficult position he's in negotiating with Charlotte. I mean, okay, if Lindsey wanted to go there, Charlotte probably knows that. Lindsey's injured. I mean, how do you start negotiating? Where do you start? And I think that's a big part of the, incentives if he hits certain marks comes in. So, well done, Peter Vermes, to even get what he got out of it, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you there, Robert, is that 325 plus, and then, the incentives that you're happy with that, because that does seem to me like a pretty good return. I wasn't considering you did just throw out two reasons that it might not be that good, but.
And the sell on clause too. I mean, what is 15% of $100,000? That's significant money.
Yeah.
Just to throw out a number, just that number, if he gets sold for more than that, which I'm sure he will eventually. So, that's significant numbers.
Okay. Good times with Jaylin. Any memory, any behind the scenes memory stories that you have of Jaylin that you want to share?
No,
I can't think of any Jaylin stories in training or anything like that.
I just don't feel like I could. There's one story I just can't share. So it's
all the best ones.
Yeah, it's a comment that he made about somebody else, and it just wouldn't be fair.
So we've lingered around the subject so far of all the other roster moves, and Tuesday, when many of you will be listening to this, is the day of the expansion draft. So let's touch on this very briefly. Effectively, Sporting KC has nobody exposed. Technically, there are 5 players exposed, none of which are under contract or
being offered.
They're not on our team, so I don't even understand how they're considered exposed still. So
I guess Sporting holds their rights would be how it works, right? Because in MLS, even when you decline someone's contract option, you somehow retain their rights unless they're drafted in some weird mechanism and the off-season shenanigans. So I guess that would be it.
It might be under the new free agent rules. Some of them may not be, but I'm not even totally sure. It's like not worth looking up at this point.
Right.
But it's also to prevent teams from cheating. So like they don't sign them and nobody drafts them because they're not protected, and then you sign them the next day kind of thing. So I think it's to protect from some of that also.
Those players, just very quickly: Amadou Dia, Luis Martins, Roberto Puncec, Graham Smith, and Ilie Sanchez. Will any of those players get selected? Ilie, will somebody want Ilie or try to sign him? I imagine that one would be a risk, because unless you've spoken to him, you don't even know if he wants to continue playing or if he wants to continue coaching in KC. And so I don't know. Will he get picked here? I imagine someone will take that risk if he's available.
Well, they only have 5 draft picks, right, in the expansion draft?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it just kind of depends on who else is on the board, and how Charlotte's deciding to construct their roster. Ilie might not fit in their style of play.
Right.
Not to mention, if you draft him, I believe you're immediately picking up his option at $1 million, and that's not nothing to sneeze at.
Okay.
Of course, they should have plenty of money at this point. So,
I mean, yeah, they're a billionaire owner. They have plenty of money, but I guess with the roster construction in terms of the roster budget of MLS.
No, but even in that regards, because they are an expansion team, they don't have. They don't
get
already
extra
have
GAM. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, they get the extra allocation money, and they don't have bad contracts already on the board. So they get that much extra when they come in because they've reduced from 10 to 5, all that stuff. So they have money if they want to spend it. That's why a lot of the expansion teams come in and do well right off the bat, because they can come in and just splash cash. But then the reality hits them. Atlanta, LAFC.
Apple Gift Card is a practical gift that unlocks a world of entertainment and fun. You can send it via email or give a physical card to your loved ones. Your friends and family can spend it on their favorite Apple services, including Apple subscriptions. Apple Gift Card can be used to buy all things Apple: products, accessories, apps, games, movies, TV shows, iCloud Plus, and more. Visit apple.com for details and to send Apple Gift Cards to your friends and family this holiday season.
Okay, yeah, we don't need to spend too much time on the expansion draft as it doesn't terribly affect Sporting KC. But I do want to talk about the roster moves. I know it's about a week late here for that to be fresh news, but is there any update on the pending decisions, on the negotiations with Espinoza and Graham Zusi, and I feel like maybe one or two others were going on? Any
There was
update
one
on
other.
these?
Kendall McIntosh.
Yeah, Kendall McIntosh signed today.
Big signing.
Okay.
Big
Third
signing.
string goalkeeper, Cody. Third string. Can't leave that guy out.
Yeah, the most important spot on the field. Am I right, guys? Ha!
Hey, he's a nice guy.
So no new update there. Do we expect what are we putting the chances at on Roger Espinoza and Graham Zusi returning?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my question. I don't really see the sense in bringing Roger back too much. What do you guys think about that?
They will both have to earn a certain amount, correct?
No, I believe they can take pay cuts because they're straight up free agents.
Or
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's what we're negotiating. That's right.
Yeah, and Peter basically said as much in his final press conference of the season. He gave kind of a long answer about how they're immensely important to the team. Like if they were to come back, the question was at this stage of their careers, how much can they help? And he said they'd be immense. But then he kind of wrapped up his answer saying, the negotiations are ongoing. It's got to be a mutual agreement. Let me get it exactly right, between both to understand what the participation will be and also what the financial part will be from us to them. Basically saying they're going to play less and they're going to make less. If they want to come back on those deals, we want them.
Robert, do you not? You kind of just flatly said it doesn't make sense to bring him back.
I mean, Roger has a value, of course, in the locker room. Definitely, that's his biggest asset in my mind. Veteran depth in the midfield, little some mentoring which he's been doing for the last couple of years. Playing wise, I just don't see. I'd like to see younger guys in there.
Cold, just stone cold over here from Robert. It's cutting me deep, man. Are you going to go ahead and say the same thing about Graham Zusi?
Oh no, I think Graham needs to be back, especially after Lindsey being gone, and he had a fine season.
David has thrown his hands up in the air in this Zoom chat here. Not happy with your takes. David? Do you disagree on both accounts?
So weirdly enough, I don't disagree about bringing Zusi back. I actually think we should bring both back, but it depends entirely on what the number is.
Sure.
Not your money.
But it's my team's salary cap. I mean, again, I'm not paying the bills, but the team I root for, it's their salary cap. But I think both have value. Zusi actually had one of his better seasons in a while this year. And Roger had, plenty of good games. He had plenty of moments on the field where he was fine. I agree with Robert. I'd like to see younger players work in. That's why I'm frustrated with Jaylin Lindsey being traded, was that I wanted to see him take more of Zusi's minutes. I want to see Felipe Hernandez. I want to see Cam Duke. I want to see those guys on the field. But I keep thinking back to Paulo Nagamura and how his last season with the team, he only played in 9 games. He only had 500 minutes of playing time. But he was brought back specifically to be a locker room mentor and to just get some minutes. And if Roger's role, and this is also on Vermes to actually follow through and play him this way, to not just default to what he knows, which is running Roger into the ground. But if Roger's willing to come back for a substantial pay cut and is willing to be 15 minutes off the bench to close out games here and there and be a mentor to guys like Felipe Hernandez, I think there's a ton of value in that. And we should absolutely bring him back.
Isn't that how Roger was used there at the end of the season, though? I thought Vermes did kind of settle into not running Roger into the ground, and that he did that Roger had finally found his end of season form and how he was going to be used off the bench for Vermes.
I would say that was kind of the idea, right? Because he became the backup, and Remy Voltaire we'll just say Remy, was starting over him. But I think he had already been running to the ground because Remy had missed time, because Felipe Hernandez had been suspended. Like Roger played a lot. I think played a significant amount of minutes. I think more than they probably wanted to. And I thought he still looked running to the ground. Like he'd come on as a sub. It didn't look like he had it. But if he wasn't, putting in however many minutes, I'm sure David's looking it up, then maybe he'd have been more effective in that role. But yeah, I mean, at 500 minutes, if he does that and he takes a decent cut from his half mil, then I think.
Well, you mentioned Pablo Nagamura coming back, and I immediately thought of, wasn't the season that he did, that last season he came back for, wasn't that that amazing comeback win at that home win over Vancouver where he scored the winner? It was like a 4-goal comeback win. He scored the winner at the end. Yeah, that was
it. Was
what a moment. Roger deserves that moment, guys.
Cody, how did you pronounce his name?
Nagamura.
I believe I heard what Pablo is what I heard.
Was it
Pablo?
Pablo
Shit, did I say
Nagamura?
Pablo? Oh, no.
We'll have to run the tape back.
No, it's Paolo Mastroeni. Is what it is.
Oh no!
But
no, that's a bad find there. I think that's
but to Chad's point, at 34 years old, Roger played 2,100 minutes, and that's a lot of mileage.
Yeah.
Isn't Roger older than that?
Roger is probably a year or two older than where Nagamura was.
He's 35 years and 49 days old.
Yeah. So, hey, just to go back to the Espinoza thing, I have one player's jersey hanging on my room upstairs, and it's Roger Espinoza's. So it's not that I don't love Roger. I do.
That's what I mean. You're stone cold. You're a businessman. You're sports. You've been in this for too long. You've been a sports journalist for too long. You're harder than I am with all of this.
I agree with Robert though. Like I was thinking about the depth chart because that's just the nerdiness idea. I'm always like, who's going to start and who's going to be the primary backups and blah, blah. And I think he's the 5th. If he resigns, he'd be the 5th number 8 on the team because I think it's probably Kenda and Remy starting, probably Hernandez and Duke behind them, and then Roger. Now, Roger was ahead of Duke a lot, but like I think to David's point, he doesn't need to be. Like Cam Duke needs to be that next guy up. He's much more like Kenda. He's that bolt of energy in the midfield. And then if Hernandez is the backup for Walter, then that pushes Voltaire. Then that pushes Espinoza down. Yeah, I'll send you some.
I'm not the only one that got fined.
So are you saying Jose Mari is the 6th?
I mean, based on the current roster construction, he is the only one, right? I wouldn't hate Remy back there. I thought he played pretty decent in that spot this year, but it doesn't seem that Vermes views him that way because he basically didn't play him there anymore once the season kind of settled in. He kind of became an 8 as the year wore on.
Well, Chad, you mentioned all these number 8s that are on the roster, but you're forgetting that Peter Vermes, just every in midfielder he gets is a number 8, and he just uses them in different ways. There is no number 10 that he gets really ever. They're all number 8s, and he just uses them differently.
That's fair because he did play Maori there too, and I was like, that guy does not need to be in that role. And what was it? Was it the decision day game where he played in that spot? Like I can't remember. He was ineffective.
So, Chad, do you not believe in Jake Davis?
Oh, I love Jake Davis.
Is he not the 6 that we need?
Oh, he does. He's never been a 6 in my eyes. He's an 8 for sure.
That did not like that question.
Yeah, he like scowled at David.
He head and forehand at that question.
He's another 8, but he literally has 1 MLS minute, so I'm not counting him yet because Vermes after that game he said I don't give cameos. He basically got in the game I think because of an injury. Like he wouldn't have played otherwise.
Yep, he was just the next man up because somebody got hurt. I saw somebody commented that he could play right back. In one of our comments, no.
I didn't know that about Cam Duke either.
Did play right back, but I don't know that he was particularly good at it. But I thought, it was just like they needed somebody on SKC2 to play right back because Pierre was unavailable for some reason.
He played right back on SKC2 because there was nobody else.
Yeah, and Cam Duke
he's not an option. He's not a good option to play it at the MLS level. He wasn't a great option at the USL level.
He can play in the same sense that Melia could, but he shouldn't.
Well, that feels a little harsh.
I would rather have Fontas play there. And I love Jake Davis, so there's not a disrespect to him. He's an 8. He's a mid. He could be a wing, not a right back. No, not a left back. Sorry.
I don't know if he can be a wing. He is an 8. If you guys go watch SKC2, he is Espinoza destroying people in the midfield, and I love it. Like, he gets a lot of fouls and cards and stuff, but like, oof, I love it. He plays very physical, so hopefully he'll get some MLS minutes soon.
So I'm gonna go. Go ahead.
Sorry. Side note: did you see that Doyle gave Fontes his defensive MLS Defender of the Year vote?
Yeah,
I was shocked by that.
Yeah, Doyle actually gave him a lot of respect all year long.
Yeah, all year he kept saying Shallowy's not the MVP of this team. Andreu Fontes is the MVP of this team. He said it all year long, and I was like, he just gets a narrative in his mind and he sticks to it. I think Thad would prefer we never mention that man's name again.
I'm going to go to David here because Robert's been too businesslike, and I want some fan emotion here. David, what of these other roster moves were you hurt by? Any of these other roster moves? Who are you going to miss that will no longer be around?
I was deeply affected by Ilya.
Of course.
You know, the man, he's a saint. And you put some stained glass of Ilya up at Children's Mercy Park, maybe in like some of the luxury suites or something. But again, you know, aside from the fact that he's one of the nicest people I've ever met, and obviously he's a fan favorite, from a roster construction standpoint, it's a little strange given that, you know, he can play at least at replacement level at 2 different positions. Is $1 million for a backup too much? Maybe. But, you know, he was a perfectly fine defensive midfielder for us. I think he was better than Jose Mauri. And then he played great when pressed into playing center back. I thought he and Fontes actually had a lot of chemistry, probably because they were able to speak Catalan to each other and nobody else on the field understood what was happening. But that one was tough. That was a tough one to see. And obviously disappointed to see my guy, Amadou Dia, you know, have a really bad follow-up season after I thought he played pretty well last year. And then, you know, RP Graham Smith, it was real cool that one time you scored.
Going back there just briefly, stained glass for Ilya. I wonder, I agree. Stained glass feels like the right way to go there. And I'm putting that above, for some reason in my head, I'm putting a stained glass ahead of a statue. Where you guys rank those in level of respect, paying your respects for somebody? Is stained glass ahead of a statue?
I don't think
that's
I've
a
ever
damn
heard
good
it.
question.
It depends on how big it is, I guess, right? If it's like the size of half the stadium, then yes, stained glass. I'm going stained glass. But I don't know, statue. We need to do something to pay our respects for him. Because I guess that's another question. Is he a sporting legend?
That was okay. You got there. Okay,
to me, in my heart, 150%, the man is a sporting legend. But yeah, I think that I just going by the numbers and minutes and trophies or lack thereof, and you know all of that. I think that's what I'm saying. So yes, David, we have to come up with something here. Someone give me something on that. Is a statue ahead of a stained glass? Thad.
Statue is ahead of stained glass. However, I think it's a different category. I think
okay,
Ilya would be a perfect stained glass up in the members club, along with San Zusi.
Oh.
But Zusi could get a statue also. So
there should just be a shrine room or a shrine corner.
There should be like levels of, you know, because Ilya was so good and such a great person that he could deserve a stained glass. I really like that idea. I'm going to start campaigning for that now. That's brilliant.
What's another form of respects that people, a plaque? Plaque is definitely below each of these.
That's the bottom for sure.
Or you name a room or part of the stadium or a bar or something after him. Ooh, there we go. We're getting somewhere.
Or like a section, right?
That might be above legend status, though.
The Ilya section.
Big.
Huh?
You know, at the risk of running us off the rails, I'm a Tottenham Hotspur fan, and
you're what?
Tottenham Hotspur fan.
They've been right on track.
Those
For
exist.
Spurs. And when they were building the new Spurs team, there was supposed to be some sort of luxury cheese room, and they were scrapping it due to budget cuts. But I'm thinking, you know, if we're going to name a room after Ilya, it has to be full of Iberian ham and Manchego cheese, and the Ilie Sanchez Barcelona. I don't know what we would exactly do, but it has to be on brand. It has to be themed.
Oh! Can I throw a suggestion out here? We need a bar / cafe. It could be the Catalan Cafe. It can have the stained glass up of Ilie. It could have a small one of Yuri Rosell, maybe a Fontes, depending on how the rest of his career goes. We could have a Catalan Cafe serving specialty wines and cheeses, like you said.
Does Christian Lobato make it?
Get in there?
Oh, God.
Cantilla, yes.
Dad, you're a genius, man.
There's more Barcelona guys though that could go there too.
Yeah, I'm just going with the ones who immediately jumped out of my mind at that moment.
Right.
So there's quite a few Barcelona guys who came in and were going to be something special and are now in the 5th division of some place in Europe that I can't name.
Hey, one of us won an Open Cup for us. Come on.
Yeah, Cantilla gets 3 panels, him kicking the ball, a blank, the ball rolling past the keeper.
Maybe a Jake I Go panel too. Yeah.
Oh, in the back of the one, him kicking the ball is just Jake going, "Thank God I didn't have to do this."
Don't seem so tough. And 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.